Hello, David Zaritsky for the Bond Experience. Welcome back. We're hungry. In fact, we're starving. No, I didn't skip a meal or anything like that. This isn't a Bond nutrition discussion. This is about Bond 26. We have been just hungering for any piece of information. So when news breaks around any aspect around Bond 26, it's like it's this crumb falling to the edge of the plate that we desperately need to gobble up. And yes, we have a situation right now, of course, when one of the producers like Barbara Broccoli says it, and it's coming from a place of this is their own words, her own words, a quote. What exactly happens? Well, let's go back real quick on the red carpet of BAFTA. LAD Bible, who is a journalistic channel, actually captured a very interesting quote. Of course, they were talking to her on the red carpet, as journalists will do. And you could see she's all smiles here and enjoying the moment because it's the BAFTA Awards. It's a big one. And what happened? Well, this quote ensued. When asked about Bond, she said, "No, we haven't even started casting yet. There isn't even a script." And now, mind you, this was in reference in mostly to a question around Aaron Taylor Johnson. There's been all of this press and a lot of conversation around who's going to be the next Bond. And she sort of stopped the presses and said, hold on a second. In your world, in the journalistic world, in the world of the Bond community, you're starving. That's all you can think about is, there's a new face, there's a new rumor. Let's connect to that and let's give our opinions. The very reason I felt compelled to do this and share my opinion about this story is because we tend to be starving. And when you're starving, you tend to do things like draw conclusions very quickly. You eat very quickly everything that you can. So let's break this apart. No, we haven't even started casting yet. And of course, this is to the whole idea of Aaron Taylor Johnson being put out there, and everybody said, my gosh, he has got to have the best agent in the world because they put him out there, and we all, even me, started to do videos and conversations, and now it's lofty. It's even, in some cases, taken over the whole idea of Henry Cavill having a shot. And you can find one of 1,000 videos talking about Aaron Taylor Johnson. By the way, postscript, I'm just saying for the record, I'm fine with him. I think he's got the physicality, he's got the look, he's got the acting chops, he can do humor, pithiness. He would be a great Bond. I wouldn't sit there and go, what were they thinking? I think if they did choose him, that would be great. But we've got to go back to the whole idea of this particular quote, because this quote made people, especially in the Bond community, lose their proverbial shite. Yes, they did. Because what this read to many people was, oh my gosh, you wrapped 4 years ago, October of 2019. We've seen a new movie in 2020. It's been several years since then. We've had the 60th anniversary and all these things happen. And you're telling us 4 years later, you've been too busy to even start penning a script. And I wanted to roll this back because I will say that when I saw this is my human, authentic moment. Of course, there's the Bond fan to me that says, that means it's going to be another 3 years, even if they started on the script tomorrow, that we're going to get a Bond film. Let me do the math, carry the 9. Oh my gosh, you're talking 2006, maybe even 2007 for a new Bond film. And I don't know if you heard, because of the name of my channel, I tend to like James Bond. I would love a new Bond film to celebrate, to galvanize, to watch, to consume, to add into the pantheon of the other 25 films. But what happens is when we read this, it halts everything. We get upset. And a lot of people did get upset. I mean, let's just call it out there. I don't want to sugarcoat it. Many people became very upset. What are they doing? Sell the franchise? Are they lazing about? Are they focusing on the wrong things? And again, once I got over the initial time she is a ticking, I started to break this down in the reality of things. First of all, and here's a little bit of cold water that's going to be splashed over all of you. Me, you watching this right now, are the last people that Barbara Broccoli, anybody from Eon, any of the distributors, any of the brands are going to tell as far as when casting starts, when a script is, when they get a director, etc. No offense. We are the audience, meaning we are the consumers, we're the target, we're the clients. Think about that with the clients. So they need to make sure everything is baked, and any kind of announcement is not going to be done in a fire from the hip sort of way on a red carpet. Barbara Broccoli, if nothing else, is a very shrewd, very thoughtful business person. And all of that is going to be planned out to the nines. They're going to communicate with all of their partners and the trades. And by the way, the very last grouping of people on that communication zip line is going to be us. And I'm included in that. So you've got to really have this very sobering moment of, will you be involved with that? And is it going to come as an accident? Now, there are some individuals, and let's explore this theory for a second, that when you take a look at that quote, they said, oh yeah, that's a little bit of maybe misdirection. You remember Bond in Quantum of Solace when M says, look at how good your charm is. And he goes, it's just misdirection. It's just misdirection. Gosh, David, can you do one video without talking about Quantum of Solace? I don't think so. I think it might be in my contract to do so. I'm kidding. But really, let's talk about misdirection, because this could be misdirection. There could have been quite a few conversations about Aaron Taylor Johnson or a script, or maybe a script is finished. But again, on a red carpet, if she wants to quell and calm all of the rumors, which they're just rumors until they have an official release in capacity, then what a wonderful way then to throw people off. And I don't mean in a maniacal way at all. This is show business, baby. This is like, when you want to neutralize the sound, what do? Well, you basically say, we haven't begun the process. There isn't a process. There isn't a script. There isn't a casting call that you need to discover. So dark detectives, put your detective thing down, put your magnifying glass away, and go watch the other 25 movies. We'll let you know. We'll call you when we have something to talk about. So it could be misdirection. And by the way, that is a distinct possibility. I'm not here to say my opinion is that it isn't, but here's what I really think this is. I think if you go back to this quote, I think what this quote means is they could have had conversations with Aaron Taylor Johnson, but they haven't done casting. Casting is a very specific thing. They run them through several scenes, a very physical scene. The scene from Russia with Love, you heard that's a very famous scene that they do with a Bond girl to really find out what are the acting chops. Are they suave? Is it somebody that captures the audience's attention? So I do believe there is a high probability that they've had mere conversations. You go out to dinner with somebody, or probably more likely to not go out to dinner, because once Barbara Broccoli is seen with an Aaron Taylor Johnson or Henry Cavill, more videos, more tongues wagging, more rumors. It's more of just polite conversations. It could even be phone, Zoom, StreamYard, who knows, Teams call. It could be something as innocuous as that, just to feel each other out, to find out, what is the likelihood. It could also be conversations with their agents and their business managers to find out about availability. Imagine thinking you want Aaron Taylor Johnson and he's doing Kick-Ass 3. I'm making that up. I know he's doing a lot of dramas now and things like that, but really you need to find out if these people are available. From a business and behind the scenes standpoint, there is so much more than what you and I think about as fans. We think, well, they're just having all these casting calls and doing these things, but that's also not the order. Now, we know from watching a plethora of documentaries or reading books or just being in this hobby that, typically speaking, it begins with the writers. It begins with an idea, and the writers start to build a framework, a rough draft, and they go through many, many different iterations. And suddenly you have a script. Sometimes you don't always have a finished script, but you at least have a treatment or an outline, and that outline can be used for several different reasons. It could be used for production company, production value, distributors. It can actually be used to speak to, oh, I don't know, a potential director. I mean, all these things are done well before you have an actor. Because can you imagine that you don't have a script and you don't have a director, but you want Aaron Taylor Johnson? So what are you going to do? Go to the writers and go, write it for Aaron Taylor Johnson. And then, oh, directors out there, you are mandated to cast Aaron Taylor Johnson. Or do you go to a director and work the long game and say, director, we have an outline, we have a treatment, we have almost a script, but guess what? You get to put your fingerprints on this script. And guess what? You get to help with casting. And imagine you are the director who's going to help to cast the very next James Bond. Sound attractive to you, Mr. and Mrs. Director? Come on board. So, I mean, these are the things that I would imagine that Eon will do as well. So to hear something like this, I think, gosh, I know it got so many people bent out of shape, but I think there could be a treatment. She's not going to announce this through a red carpet, so we're not going to know before everybody else knows. And I'm not surprised that they haven't done casting yet if they truly don't have a script. I'm sorry. That's just not the way it works. It's the way we want it to work. I always, and listen, I'm not here to preach, although you sound pretty preachy, David. I'm not here to preach because I play the fantasy game all the time. Look, I'm sitting in a Bond chair surrounded by Bond pictures. Clearly, I play the fantasy game. But I do play the fantasy game of, oh, what if Henry Cavill's been contracted for 2 years and he's just waiting for his time? And those are fun. They're titillating. They're probably not reality. And the sooner that we come back to this wonderful thing called Earth of reality and understand that, and then enjoy the things we are going to have, like the Ian Fleming publications and the video games and the brands and gathering together and the fan community connecting like this, those are things we have 100% assurance of. Then let's embrace those because we're starving. And I get it. And it's very easy to glom on to pieces of information like this. But let's roll it back now. Let's take a look around. Let's smell what we have. I don't know why I went with that visual. Why would you smell what you have? But you know what I mean. Embrace it, hug it, love it, and really focus forward. And that's what I'm going to do. So that's my opinion. I'd love to hear yours. Of course, this is going to be a very talked about video. I have no doubt of that. But in the meantime, I'm going to make a recommendation. Let's give this person a little bit of leeway, a little bit of break. She's the custodian for the Bond forward motion. And right now, our Bond forward motion is this, connecting with each other. And we're doing a pretty damn good job. So in the meantime, this has been David Zritsky for the Bond Experience. I'll see you all real soon. I will. Take care. Thanks for watching this episode. If you want to be up on the latest from the Bond Experience, just click on this subscribe and subscribe to our channel. You're going to get all the latest and greatest information, plus some exclusive content. And by the way, speaking of content, here's something especially for you, just because we know you. Talk to you soon.